This video is sponsored by Skillshare.
Is normal girl bouldering YouTuber code for girlfriend? Hello friends, this is Oswaldo from Rockentry, and today I'll be answering your questions and celebrating our 80,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. This is a great way to start the year. I'm so excited for 2021 in so many ways because 2020 has been crazy. I know, it's been really crazy, but I'm gonna be answering your questions. I had asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I'll put my handle right here. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna leave timestamps on the description of the video below. So like that, if you wanna go through the questions and skip some of them, go ahead. Because there's a lot of questions from you guys, which is awesome. Thank you guys for those of you who submitted. Let's get started. Question number 1. All right, this is by Sibi Climbs. How do you stay motivated to finish a project when failing a lot during the process? Oh my God, man. This is like, this happens to me a lot when I get so psyched on a project and then all of a sudden it's taking me too long. Before, I used to lose motivation faster than now. Now, not so much, but I know why. Because before, I've experienced where I've tried to climb and it seemed impossible. The first, let's say, the first move seemed impossible to me. But then, knowing that I didn't give up and I ended up achieving that first move, that started to motivate me. Just the fact that I got the first move. Just little minor improvements or progressions, I would be thankful for, to be honest. Awesome. Thank you, Sophia. Awesome. That's good. That's good news. So now what I'm gonna do is see if I can do that move, isolation. It's not about sending the climb when it comes to me and progress. It is about minor improvements that lead to the sand.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's something that I learned, and I'm a lot easier on myself if I don't send something, because I know it takes time. It takes a lot of time. So I stay motivated by knowing that I have to enjoy the process in order to see progress. So yeah. Dien Touch MD. Sorry if I pronounced some of your guys' names, but these usernames are pretty hard to pronounce sometimes. All right, favorite climbing shoes. Right now, as a lot of you know, I've been wearing Mad Rock LV drone shoes, and those have been my go-to shoes. And another thing is I'm very thankful for them because they provide the gear, they support Rockentry. So I love that company in so many ways, and the shoes are, I love them. They're amazing. I did a review on them, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave it in the description below. Next question. If you only had one day to live, what would it look like? Oh man, that's a hard question. If I only had one day to live, what would it look like? If I only had one day to live, what would it look like? Well, first of all, I have to be surrounded by my loved ones. So that's a major key. And second, climbing is everything to me. So third, you guys are everything to me. So what I would do is set up a day where we can all meet, whoever can meet me, and have my loved ones and you guys and be at the crag together. That's how it would look like. I could just imagine it right now. Oh my God, imagine all of us, and then that's my last day, and probably one of my projects though. We would be in one of my projects at that point. Yeah, all right. Next question. This is by Gentleman and Warrior. What's the best training routine for slopers? Man, a lot of people struggle with slopers. The best routine I can tell you is climb slopers. Easy as that, because the only way to get familiar with positioning your body for those holds, they're very specific holds, very specific body positioning, is to climb them, seriously. Now, if you don't have slopers and you want to increase some sort of strength on holding on to those holds, open hand crimps help a lot. So these are open hand crimps So if you want to train those at home, they'll help with slopers because you actually do crimp some of the slopers. A lot of them actually. It's Luke Heap. What was your biggest struggle you overcame with climbing? My first and only injury, which was a small tear on one of my tendons. And I struggled a lot because I had to stop climbing for a while. And that was hard for me. That was really hard because I felt like I was gonna lose a lot of gains, man. You know what? Just injuries is like really rough. If you're going through an injury right now, just be patient and take your time and do your best to do whatever you can to recover, which is physical therapy, supplements, and resting. So that was something that overcame and I had to take my time. So, all right, next question. This is by Brent Tushi. What was your most memorable send? My most memorable send, the one that I'll never forget, and it's always in here, is Bubble Butt. That climb, that boulder, man, as I mentioned before, this is exactly the boulder that I was talking about when it came to thinking that it was impossible for me to climb. And it was one of those that I was really scared of. I was really, really scared. But that's the reason why I wanted it so bad to climb, because I knew it was gonna help me in my confidence of climbing, mentally, and my strength overall. And this was with Brent actually. Brent knows how hard I trained and how motivated I felt, and he was there with me when I sent it. So Brent, that was my most memorable day, dude. Thanks again for sticking around for a week on working on this climb. We stayed out there for a week until I finished it. And I got to meet Alex Puccio too on one of my sessions, so that was great. That was great too. All right, next question is by Ipomis. What are your goals for 2021? I have 3 goals when it comes to climbing. 1, my first double-digit climb, my first V10 ever. Man, that's gonna be amazing when it happens. Number 2, to be able to do a 1-arm pull-up on a half crimp. So probably on a 20 millimeter edge. And number 3 is to be able to flash at least 1 V8 outdoors. I'm talking about outdoors here. Okay. Next question is by Boyan Bobar. What is your goal in climbing, like rate or one concrete boulder? Right now, I'm focusing on this climb called Bittersweet. It is a V9 and it is extremely hard for the first move, and the mental game is out there too. I've fallen from the top of this boulder. Wow!
This guy almost died. I saved his life.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Did you guys see that? Thank you for spotting me, dude.
That was one of the gnarliest falls I've ever seen. Seriously. Or that even I spotted.
And it was easily the scariest fall I've like experienced. So I really want to do this climb. Now, when it comes to grading, I'm actually more about being excited about the climb nowadays than the grade. So I'm not really chasing the grade. I'm actually looking for climbs that I'm like really excited about. Like for instance, I'm really excited about this other climb called Scare Tactics, and that's a V8, but it's a really good line. I love this line so much because there's a lot of body tension, crimps, and enough holds that it requires endurance as well. So on top of that, it's a mental game because there's this move where it's really sketchy. So I'm really digging these 2 climbs, Scare Tactics and Bittersweet. Those are the 2 climbs that are my goals right now. All right, next question is by Zach Mandel. When did you start rock climbing? I'm 35 right now. I started at 30 years old, so it's been a while. Yeah. Job Babette. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, okay? All right, what are some of your life goals? Okay, so one of my life goals is to be able to climb as long as I can, because climbing makes me happy, without a doubt. I love it. Number two, my another life goal is rock entry. I want to make rock entry something amazing and be the hub of helping climbers get better. And, you know, maybe even a rock entry gym. I don't know. I've been thinking about that for the future, you know. But yeah, that's some of my life goals. It's by Leo Monkey 8. Recap of 2020 and Plan 21 and your book. Your vision of YouTube video and your climb goals 21. Okay, we talked about my climbing goals. Now let's talk about my book. First of all, thanks for mentioning my book. And for those of you who don't know, I do have a book that is called The Crux. It is my personal memoir on climbing, and there's so much that within my life that has overlap with climbing. Climbing has helped me tremendously. And within this book, you'd find out exactly what I'm talking about, what I went through, and how climbing has really impacted my life. There's so much good content in that book, you guys. So if you haven't read it, I'll leave it in the description below. It's one of the best things that I've ever done in my climbing career, pretty much, writing this book. So by the way, it is now available on paperback. So for those of you, is it focused? There you go. For those of you who are interested, I'll leave a link in the description below. And I'm excited for this, you guys. So grab a copy and let me know what you think. I'm excited about this year. A lot's gonna happen in this year. And one of my main goals that I'm working on next is opening an online store, rockentry online stores. So you're gonna be able to buy merch in that store, buy my book, buy any courses that I create. So I'm really, really excited about that as well. That's one of my main goals for rock entry. Now, when it comes to my vision on YouTube videos, I am always looking to improve my content. And one of the ways that I do that is by using Skillshare, which is one of our sponsors for today's video. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. It is created specifically for learning. That means there are no ads. And they are always launching new premium classes so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. One of the ways that I can improve in creating content for you guys is to take classes on Skillshare. For instance, I'm taking this class right now by Nathaniel Drew. It is called Creativity Unleashed, Discover, Hone, and Share Your Voice Online. Takeaways that I'm learning from here is the importance of providing value. So I'm excited to continue learning from Nathaniel. Now, the first 1,000 of my subscribers who click in the link in the description below will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity as well. There are classes for you guys that would help you improve when it comes to habits or productivity. And it is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. You know, sponsorships like this really do help creators like myself. So thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Okay, next question is by Hits Thiago. What do you think a climbing-based diet look like? When it comes to diet, for me, you know, again, everyone's different. You have to figure out a lifestyle when it comes to your eating habits. The best thing that you can do that I've done is to cook, to learn to cook. Because again, if you learn to cook, you know what goes into your food, you know what goes into your body. That is the best thing you can do. Dereli 123. What does a typical day look like for you? If I'm not climbing, I'm working. If I'm not working, I'm training. If I'm not doing any of those things, I'm spending time with my girlfriend or family. So my day is very straightforward, to be honest. I typically try to keep it simple and focused as much as I can, because there's so much you can do in a day, and I try to keep it focused. You know what would be a good idea? Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a video of a day in the life of a climber, and I can do that. Let me know in the comments below. This is by Abilation. Current weekly training routine. I'm actually creating a new training routine, and I'll be sharing that in the future. But right now, these days, I've only been climbing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've only been climbing, but I will be training again. The reason why is this: I found a project that I'm psyched about, and I'm gonna be training towards that climb, towards that project pretty much. So yeah, I'll share that in the future. Next question. This is by Caleb J G1. What is the hardest grade you have flashed indoors and outdoors? Hardest grade I flashed indoors was a V8. Hardest grade I flashed outdoors is a V7. All right. Next question is by Andrew Dustuff. That's a good name. Okay. Would you be interested in starting a series where you critique fan-submitted videos? Oh, that's a really good idea, Andrew. That's a good idea. So yes, that could be a series probably for this year. So actually, you're not the only one that has asked me that. So yeah, that's a good idea. I just have to think about how should I have it where people submit the videos, if it's gonna be via Instagram or they upload it somewhere. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. All right, next question is by Juvilant. Is normal girl bouldering YouTuber code for girlfriend?
Say that one for me.
You can probably hear Sophia in the background, but maybe. I don't know, man. I just did that just to do it, but yeah.
Just do it, huh?
Oh my god. Okay. Yes. Next question is by Nav S. How did you balance overall strength training with climbing when you first started? Let me tell you this. I overtrained and didn't climb enough when I started. That was the biggest mistake I've done in my climbing. But that's, again, you don't know what you're doing in the beginning, and I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning, but I overtrained and didn't climb enough. So make sure you climb more than you train, especially if you're starting off. I would say just climb, to be honest. But if you want to do some extra training, I would focus on, if you have, some body fat, if you're high on body fat, I would focus on decreasing your body fat, work on things like that. You can also do that in the kitchen, right? Like just eat healthy. Okay, next question by DIY Climbing Holds. All right, what's the highest V grade you think you will ever be able to reach? Oh man, what a question. Okay, what's the highest grade I think I would be able to reach? You guys know me, I usually don't think about the highest grade. I think about more of the quality of the climb, which I talked about earlier. But if I can think about the highest grade, you know what? I'm not gonna limit myself, but I'm gonna say V15. There, I said it, V15. Oh my God, I'm spitting. But yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. All right, next question is by Sam Paquette, I believe. Okay. All right. What has been your worst plateau and how did you overcome it? My worst plateau is freaking V4s. Oh my God. Getting to a V5 was so hard to me, getting a V5. And again, as I mentioned previously, it was because my mindset was wrong when I first started climbing, which is overtrain and not climb enough. How did I overcome it? Well, thanks to now a friend, she actually came up to me and told me my weakness, and she mentioned to me that she can tell that I'm just over gripping and just pulling on the holds as hard as I can and not using any technique. After that, I shifted my mindset and started focusing on technique, and no joke, you guys, no joke. After that, I was like, oh my God, I finally got my first V5. So yeah, that was it. All right, good story. All right, next question. All right, JJ, go, go, go. Oh man, you guys and your usernames. Go, go, go. Okay, planning on visiting Mexico? Yes, I would love to visit my home country, man, and climb out there. Yes, in the future, hopefully. That's a goal of mine. Okay, next question is by Songbean. Ever dealt with painful finger joints? Yes. Now, this is what I do. If I feel any sort of pain in my joints, I do stop climbing. I do rest. If it takes me a day or two, I do take those 2 days. Or if I do climb, I make sure the climbs that I do work on, they're not causing any pain. Those are the two things I do. Now, recently, to be honest, I've been taking collagen and it's been helping with my joints. I can tell a difference. All right, next question, L Ascends. Have you always wanted to make videos? If not, what kept you making videos? Have I always wanted to make videos? No. My first time making videos, you guys, is because of YouTube. That's what kept me going. That's literally why I do videos. And I'm loving the process and I'm loving, what I do because I provide information, climbing information, valuable content for you guys. So that's what's keeping me continuing doing this. And I love it, man. I love the creative process. And yeah, I just love the challenge as well of how I can put both passions and submit it to YouTube. Okay, Treescoot112. What's your favorite type of hold and least? Mine are crimps, least are slopes. It's funny. Slopers are typically like, most people don't like slopers because I know why. Before I didn't like slopers, but let's talk about my favorite type of hold, slopers. The reason why I like slopers is because it's more than just strengthening your finger strength or your open hand grip. It's more about body positioning. It's very technical. There's way more to it. It is very, very complicated hold. So that's the reason why I love it, because it was a hold that I used to hate and now I love because I have an understanding for it. Now, my least favorite climbing hold. I would say at a certain level, the difficulty for me with underclings. Undercling is probably my least favorite because if I have to work a climb where I have to keep tension on an undercling and then try to come up, it's very difficult. But other than that, I can't think of a hold that I don't like. To be honest, I like all the holds right now because I like the challenge. Actually, you know what? I want to know the rest of you. What is your least favorite hold and your favorite hold? So leave that in the comments below. I'm curious to see a pattern. Okay, next question by JD Moha. Best advice for advancing from V4 to V5. Any specific drills? So from advancing to V4 to V5 is going to be different for everyone, but typically people do the same mistake I did, which they just focus so much on strength and not so much on technique, because typically after those grades it requires more technique than strength, and then you go back to needing strength and more technique and so on. Depends on the gym, of course. Some gyms are more technical, some gyms are just more strength based, so that's why it's hard to say. One of the best drills that I recommend is silent feet. You can't go wrong with that, without a doubt. Next question, Kevin Rath. How often do you hangboard, and what do your hangboard workouts look like? So right now I haven't been hangboarding. I've only been focusing on climbing as much as I can right now. But when I do hangboard, I do max hangs. That is typically my focus, and it typically requires on choosing 3 type of holds and doing max hangs, which is 7 on, 3 minutes off, and with added weight, or a more difficult hold and do body weight. So that's where I go for. Okay, next question is by Uncle Jamal. How long were you climbing before you became proficient by your standards? Oh, that's a good question. Oh man, you guys have some really good questions. I like that. Okay. It's funny because when I started climbing, I always wonder that, like, when does a climber feel like, okay, this is good. I can climb. There's no like, oh my God, I'm lacking so much on this, I'm lacking so much on that, or I would say 3 years in climbing. It took me 3 years to start feeling like, oh my God, I'm good at this sport. I'm really good at this sport. Some people, it only takes a year, but for me, I would say it took 3 years to feel proficient, to feel good about my climbing. Ramon Bart, how much do you climb in a regular week? As much as I can. That's what I do, as much as I can, and I rest as much as I need. That's how I do it. Bluestone Duyang, worst climbing injury. As I mentioned, I had a minor tear on my tendon, and that was my worst injury, and that was because of some pocket holds. So you know what, let me give you guys this advice. If you don't climb pocket holds and then all of a sudden you're projecting a climb with pocket holds, be careful, because that's exactly what I did, and that's how I got injured. My first injury and hopefully last injury. Ty Billings, do you like short boulders or long boulders? Why? I love short boulders because they're typically lesser moves, but really difficult moves, and it involves a lot of strength and very technical. Longer boulders, typically sometimes you need like a resting point and a lot of endurance. You need a lot of endurance for those. So that's why I like shoulder boulders rather than long boulders. But right now at the gym that I'm currently climbing on, they're pretty long, but I'm enjoying them as well, to be honest. Okay, next one's by George Flemma. If you could go back to the beginning of your climbing journey, what would you do differently? Oh, easy. Climb more. Don't focus so much on getting strong. Climb. And another big advice, climb with strong climbers, because you're going to learn a lot from them. Ask questions. Yeah, those are the things I would do differently, and I would do, and I would highly suggest. But yeah, next question. That's it. Yes, we did it. That's all the questions. Again, I didn't get through a lot of them, but these are like the top questions that I chose, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. And you guys, if you have more questions, leave it in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. And as always, love you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the 80K. I can't wait for 100K subscribers. I'm excited for this year. Let me be straightforward, you guys. It was hard to make this video because Sophia.
You're gonna blame it on me now?
Sophia was next to me this entire time waiting for me because we're going out. But
I couldn't move.
yeah, she couldn't move.
Hi guys.
I hope you guys enjoy this Q&A, and you guys, thank you so much for the love and support. I wish you guys all the best, and let's make this year the best for all of us. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.